right here. At home. Protect your out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Family, I'm doing 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You see, we dream chase, because that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
What's going on, Eagles Nation and TMTP family? Welcome back to another episode here on the Main Thing Podcast presents. It's your bull, Mr. Owens. And after further review, the call stands. I'm still official with no stripes.
What's going on, Eagles family? I'm your man, Big Huss, the one you trust, tapping in with that midnight green medicine. Now, as Mr. Owens said, welcome back to another episode of the Main Thing Podcast presents. You feel me? Hey, the home of real Eagles conversations, nonstop football energy, one of the strongest growing communities in the game. Do you hear me? And now, family, today we got a lot to talk about, per usual, as we do. The Sean Mannion era is officially underway in Philadelphia. The Eagles schedule is finally here. It's actually going on as we're recording right now, okay? And then there are some major questions surrounding Jalen Hurts in this new offense. And then quiet as it's kept, the defense, hey, that defense led by the Don, Vic Fangio, might be terrifying again. We also have to show major love to the Eagles Autism Challenge. After another record-breaking year, they continue to do this very big in the autism community. So this is one of those videos where every single topic matters because all of this is connected to one thing. And that thing is, can this team get back to the Super Bowl and hoist that Lombardi, as we've already done 2 times in recent years? But before we get into all of that, into all the news, the meat, potatoes, the goodness, my family, my brother, Mr. Owens, got to talk to you real quick.
You already know, Big Huss, and the answer to your question is yes.
Hell
we
yes.
can get back to the Super Bowl. But to our loyal supporters, thank you. Y'all know it's all love. The Main Thing Podcast presents can't happen without the support from y'all. And to our new supporters, welcome to the community and our family. Let's continue to do our part for the community and our family. Please continue to like the videos. It does help with the visibility of our channel in the algorithm. Disrespect that comment section. Share and subscribe to the community and our content. And yup, y'all already know. Make sure to turn on them noties and keep your ears and eyes peeled to the streets like your local neighborhood watch. Wow. So you don't miss when me and Big Huss drop this pressure on y'all.
Now, y'all know how we do. The message was given. Now, I'm praying it was received. So let's jump right into it, man. The Sean Mannion era is officially underway. Now, this might quietly be one of the biggest stories of the entire Eagles offseason. Everybody already knows Nick Sirianni is the head coach. Everybody knows Howie Roseman as GM of the 2010s era and runs this front office, right? But the future of this offense, honestly, the future of Jalen Hurts may heavily depend on Sean Mannion and his success.
Yes.
And when you think about it, that's interesting. That's a bit fascinating because Sean Mannion is not some flashy hire that dominated headlines nationally this offseason. He's a former NFL quarterback, former third-round pick in 2015, spent some years learning football from the sidelines with the Rams, Vikings, and Seahawks, and went on to coach, as we know, right? But now he stepped into one of the most important offensive development roles in history, in football for real, right, with everything going on, and that's pressure. But what's interesting is how respected Mannion already is around the league, being that he's not one of those top tier names, one of those household names, like a McVay or, one of those type guys.
Shanahan.
Shanahan. But a lot of people are pointing toward his development of Malik Willis as a major reason the Eagles believe in him so much. And Malik Willis, when asked to step in last year, we all remember well, did his thing. Jordan Love went down, and Sir Malik had the Packers rolling. They didn't miss a beat. You could even say they might even took a step forward, low-key, with Malik Willis at the helm, right? So Malik Willis went from being viewed as a possible bust in Tennessee to rebuilding his value and eventually landing a massive contract opportunity down there with the Dolphins. Now, people around the league reportedly credit Mannion for helping stabilize and develop his game mentally and structurally, and that matters because now one of his biggest projects, one of the biggest names Mannion has worked with, becomes Jalen Hurts. And according to these reports, the early connection between these two is very strong. And as a Philly community, especially coming off the KP era last year, we love to hear this, right? So Hurts recently said he's amazing. Talk about Mannion. He's amazing, and I'm excited for what's to come. And that's important. One, because QB1 doesn't publicly praise a lot of people.
Not at all.
Right? He's very cut and dry with his answers. So for him to say that he's amazing and excited for what's to come, that's letting you know he's kind of built in. He's bought in, excuse me. But anytime you're installing a new offense, the relationship between quarterback and the offensive architect matters more than anything else. Trust matters, right? Communication matters. As I just said, the buy-in matters. You want your lead dog to be bought in, because if he's bought in, more than likely everybody else is going to be bought in. But if he's not, everybody else more than likely will not. So according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Hurts and Mannion have already hit it off early in the process. Like I said, from the community, from a fan's perspective, I'm loving it. Okay.
And we're not talking about McDonald's, you know. And look, we all saw, to add on to your point, Big House, we all saw when people are not bought in from last year with Kevin Patullo and how that unraveled in the 2025 season in Philadelphia. But as you mentioned already, it's the new era of Sean Mannion here in Philadelphia. Absolutely. And now with that being the case, the Eagles offense is about to look different, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Now, this is where things get really interesting. According to reports, the Eagles offense is expected to carry major influences from the already aforementioned Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan offensive tree. And if y'all know football the way me and Big Huss know some ball, you already understand why that matters. This offensive system is built around rhythm, timing, play action, motion, spacing, quarterback-friendly concepts, under center formations, and attacking defenses horizontally and vertically, something that we did not get last year from Mr. Patullo. This is not the same style offense, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, that us as Eagle fans have been watching here recently. Jeremy Fowler reported that Hurts, QB1, will likely operate under center much more frequently this season, while also using heavier play action concepts, and that matters. And honestly, family, look, that could completely change this offense this year, because for the past few years, we know that we had Shane Steichen, we had Brian Johnson, we had Bull down in New Orleans.
Why am
I've seen his face.
Cowboy cuz. Why are we forgetting what?
It's literally right. What is his name? I'm seeing him.
Lord Jesus. It's blowing me.
And usually we be good with the names.
Yeah, I know. It's blowing me right now. Like, what the heck?
I see his face.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. That's his name. Kellen Moore. Whew. Kellen Moore is starting to sweat a little bit over here.
Right.
Kevin Patullo and now Sean Mannion. And this offense at times became too dependent on shotgun formations. We saw a lot of shotgun formations, isolation routes, and hero ball type of football. Too often it felt like the offense really relied on QB1 creating magic instead of the scheme creating answers. And that's dangerous long term here with Sean Mannion, because the great offenses in today's modern NFL help the quarterbacks play fast, be able to decipher their decisions faster, to be able to go through their progressions faster and get the football out of their hands quicker. That's what Sean McVay does with the Los Angeles Rams. That's what Kyle Shanahan does with the San Francisco 49ers. And that's also what Bobby Slowick has done as well. And that's why quarterbacks such as Matt Stafford, who was recently just the NFL MVP last season, Tua Tagovailoa, Jordan Love, Jimmy Garoppolo, and yes, you like that, Kirk Cousins, have all succeeded inside versions of this system. The system creates easy reads, as I just mentioned. It creates rhythm and structure. The system creates confidence. And now the Eagles are trying to bring those same concepts here to Philadelphia.
For sure. And I think you more so hit it on the head, where as a OC, head coach, whoever's in charge of calling your offense, your job is to give answers. Yes, you give a scheme. Yes, you put it on the whiteboard, and it's supposed to be here and the defender should be here. But when he's not where you thought the defender would be, what do? We didn't see a lot of that last year. There weren't a lot of answers. There were too many questions, too many folks looking at each other kind of like, I don't just run it. No. With Sean Mannion, we are hoping, and all signs point towards us having those answers, or him putting just QB1 in a position to truly succeed within the offense. Give me the cheat sheet. I don't want to just walk in and be like, oh my God, we got a pop quiz. I'm sweating. I'm not prepared. Help the players prepare. Well, speaking of Jalen Hurts, right? Even with the new OC, QB1 has to evolve. And I'm sure if QB1 were to say that, he would agree. It's all about taking that next step forward. It's all about growth. And QB1, Jalen Hurts, fully embodies that, right, and embraces that.
Yes.
So this is where the conversation gets real, because 2026 is a massive year for Jalen Hurts. And let's make something very clear. Hurts has already proven himself in this league. He's proven he can win. He's been to multiple Super Bowls, been to the playoffs every year as a starter, right? Didn't accidentally become one of the faces of the league, right? Didn't accidentally become one of the leaders of one of the most premier organizations in the NFL.
Say that again.
You know what I'm saying? MVP. He's been doing it. He's been doing it. It's proven that he can do it on a high stage or high level. But the NFL evolves just as players do. And the NFL evolves fast. Defenses evolve. Coordinators adjust, right? Windows close quickly in this league. And right now, defenses believe that they found a way to slow Hurts down in certain situations. You can't completely slow the man down, but they've found some edges, right? Some ways to kind of frustrate QB1 of sorts, right? But one of the biggest talking points recently has been Hurts struggles against zone coverage. And as Eagles fans, if we're being honest, we've seen some signs of that at points and times during the season, right? So according to ESPN stats, Hurts faced zone coverage over 56% of his offensive snaps last season, one of the highest marks of his career. And that's probably one of the highest of the season for a quarterback. 56% is really high. And the production difference between the man and zone coverage was noticeable. Against man, 19 tackles, only 3 INTs. He's eating them up. He's carving them up. He's a problem, right? But then you flip it against zone, it's a stark difference. 6 tackles and 3 interceptions. I'm not liking that. That's like I said, that's a huge difference. And according to reports, some inside organizations have wanted Hurts to diversify the offense more consistently. And I believe more so spreading the ball around a little bit. Let's not focus so much on A.J. Brown, who everybody's eyeing, or Smitty, who everybody's eyeing. You know what I'm saying? Let's hit that Jahan Dotson or that check down, or wherever that fourth option is, right? Just kind of spread it out. So you're not able to key just on one or two players. Right? Then there were also reports suggesting that at times Hurts drifted away from the design of the game plan at a higher degree than the coaches preferred. Now, look, being how the offense was last year, I ain't mad at him. At times you had to, you know what I'm saying? You got it Willie Beam in that thing. All right, I'm just keeping it a beam. It wasn't looking good. The offense was stagnant at times. I can't be mad at him for that. But I do want QB1 to also sit in that pocket at time and go through your progressions. Don't be so eager to lead the pocket, because a lot of times the pocket was clean, right? Step up, deliver. Now, whether fans agree with all the criticism or not, right? The reality is this. The Eagles believe evolution is necessary, and I believe it is. And honestly, like I just said, they're right. Because the next step for Hurts isn't proving if he can make superstar plays. The brother's done that. The next step is proving he can consistently operate faster, going through your reads, trusting timing concepts, attacking the middle of the field, which we didn't see a lot of, taking the easy completions, because sometimes that little 2-yard check down is the best throw. That's your best option. You know what I'm saying? That 2-yard check might go for 30. We never know, right? Manipulate zone defenses with your body language, with your eyes, right? Give them false cues and fully command a timing-based system. Now, look, if QB1 can do this, this offense becomes terrifying again, because the weapons are there. Whether A.J. Brown is in the fold or not, this is still one of the more complete offenses in the league. So this system might actually help extend Hurts' career, because it reduces how often he has to play superhero football, right? And that's important. Superhero football, look, it's good. You're gonna have them moments during games. You got to put the cape on your back, and I gotta go be him. But sometimes being him can lead to disastrous plays or injuries or anything else. So having a more complete system, bringing more players into the fold as far as helping complement what's going on, it's going to be big for QB1 this year.
Yes, and because to add on to your point, like you said, a lot of the criticism is warranted, and a lot of criticism is not warranted with QB1. But one thing that QB1 separates himself from a lot of these other quarterbacks that analysts crown as the top quarterbacks in the NFL is when you look at the top 10 list of highest paid quarterbacks, right? I kind of stumbled across it yesterday, right? And thought it would be interesting to talk about it here real quick. So you have Dak Prescott making $60 million a year. You have Josh Allen making 55, Jordan Love making 55, Trevor Lawrence making 55, Joe Burrow making 55, Brock Purdy making 53, Jared Goff making 53, Justin Herbert making 52 and a half, Lamar Jackson making 52, and our Super Bowl winning franchise quarterback QB1 making 51 million. What does all the other quarterbacks have in common that QB1 doesn't have in common?
They don't have bowls.
Ding, 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 ding. You're correct, sir. They don't have Super Bowls.
There you go.
They don't have Super Bowls, but he receives a lot of criticism, which sometimes is unwarranted, because people don't like his style. People don't like how Jalen Hurts plays or QB1 plays. And that's their issue, because you already mentioned earlier in the video, he wins. That's all he does. His winning career percentage is very high. People don't just come in the NFL from day one and go to the playoffs every single year, like you mentioned. Go to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. You see what I'm saying? And also what I think that will help QB1 is, you already mentioned, throwing across the middle of the field. We have a tight end that can open up the middle of the field and help with the easier throws. We have running backs in the backfield, Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby, that can open up the defense and allow the linebackers and the safeties to get sucked down so we can throw play action over top. Because we already know that QB1 is one of the best throwing quarterbacks outside of the numbers. He has very high percentages outside of the numbers. The average quarterbacks, outside the numbers, you don't want them to take that risk. It's a risk for a lot of quarterbacks. For QB1, not so much, but I feel in this system, he will thrive because Sean Mannion understands the position. He understands what he's looking for against the defense. So I'm excited for Sean Mannion and QB1's time here in Philadelphia, but we already know QB1 constantly puts in the work. We're not the only ones that notice it. The Eagles have noticed it. Everybody who has been around QB1 has noticed it. And one of the greatest players to ever play in any sport noticed it, and that's Michael Jordan. And this is another encouraging sign for our franchise winning Super Bowl quarterback, because reports say that QB1 has already been throwing off-site with several receivers, including Devontae Slim Reaper Smith and newly acquired Elijah Moore. And from QB1, we already know he possesses this, but that's leadership, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. That's preparation. When you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. That's accountability, holding not only himself accountable, but his teammates accountable, because he wants the best not only for himself, but he wants the best for the whole entire Philadelphia Eagles team. And according to reports, QB1 is more open to the offensive adjustments now than he's ever been. And Big Hus has already touched on that. And that matters because transition only works if the quarterback is fully bought in. The talent here in Philadelphia has never been an issue. Howie Roseman does a very, very fabulous job of constructing this roster from top to bottom. It only now becomes maximizing efficiency and being effective every single rep on offense.
Even when things aren't looking bright, he's going to keep working. But now, like you said, you put on with Mannion, he's feeling a little more comfortable. He's liking what he's saying. You might have that little extra get up in his step, you know? So I can't wait for us to see the finished product come the season. And speaking of the season, the 2026 Eagles schedule is finally here now. These aren't the complete notes on the schedule, as we said at the top of the show. The full schedule and everything is going on as we're recording right now. So we'll come back and kind of talk on that a little bit later, but let's just talk about what we got right here. So we already knew who the Eagles would play. Now we kind of know when, and the timing matters in the NFL. It always does. Short weeks matter. Travel stretches matter. Cold weather games matter. Late season division battles matter. Primetime pressure, baby, it matters. So the NFL clearly sees the Eagles as one of the league's premier attractions because the Philadelphia Eagles, once again, loaded with major national television games. Look,
Per usual.
Right? So let's run through some of these big matchups. Open the season up week 1. Commanders, those Commandos. So the Eagles open the season against the Washington Commanders. No easing to the season. No soft opener. The Commanders had a good off season, and trust and believe the way we've been smacking them around, they're going to come ready to play. This is immediate division smoke. So let's be honest, fam. This rivalry has real heat now. The Washington is no longer rebuilding quietly, as I said. This is a team, trying to compete immediately, right? So week 1 instantly becomes a statement game. If we come out, handle business, we're going to be like, we off to a good start. But if we come to this game lax, thinking they just going to roll over because we the birds, it's not going to be looking good.
You're absolutely right, Gus, because you got to think about it. The Commanders always play us tough. Every single season. They could finish the season 4-12.
I swear to God, man.
And one of their wins might be against us. And if it's not, it'll be a close ball game. For some reason, the Commanders always play us tough because they know we have been the standard of not only the NFC East, but the standard of the NFC and the NFL, bro.
No, spot on. You can never, like Mr. Owen just said, records go out the window when you play the Commanders. You have to come in that joint, helmet strapped up, ready to play. Because they're gonna try to come punch you in the mouth. They are. That's just how they built. But we big brother, you know how you do, little brother. Get out of here. Sit them down. So our next big matchup, week 3, Monday Night Football in Chi-Town. Eagles head to face Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. National audience, primetime energy, hostile environment, and we got to get our lick back, man. Come on now. So if the Eagles win big, people scream Super Bowl. But if we struggle, everybody's going to overreact. You know how the city does. You know how the media does. That's what comes with being one of the NFL's biggest brands. Everybody's watching because they either love us and they all die hard Philly like we all in, or they watching to see us lose. Either way, they watching. So let's give them a show. All right. So then that takes us to week 5, the London game. One of the most interesting games of the season. The Eagles head overseas to face the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, 9:30 a.m. football, bright and early on Sunday. So make sure you're up, right? Some teams handle international games well. And I can say Philadelphia over the past few years, we've handled our international games well. We wouldn't handle business. Mm-hmm. Other teams, though, they completely lose rhythm afterwards. Once again, travel matters. The body clock matters. Preparation matters. And how the Eagles respond after this trip could shape the middle portion of the season. Now, you would think after this London game, we would have a bye week, kind of let your body readjust to being back in the States. We won't see that bye week till week 10. So we have to be mentally and physically prepared for this journey. Then let's go on to Cowboys week. Y'all know this week always hit a little different. Y'all know what it is. Come on, man. You knew what was coming. Dallas Cowboys Monday Night Football, October 26th. Thanksgiving game? Ooh, baby, okay. The rating machine is striking again. Everybody gonna be watching. The rematch happens on Thanksgiving Day in Dallas. That's cinema. That's legacy game energy. That's the type of matchup the entire football world will be watching. And hopefully me and Mr. Owens can make that game and be watching that one in person down there in Dallas. We'll see how it shakes out.
Come on, bro. And you know we 2-0 against the boys in Thanksgiving too.
Now, yeah.
Come on now.
Y'all know the vibes.
First time to try.
Okay. And then we got the late season stretch, which is a bit brutal. But this is where the schedule gets serious, right? Late in the year, the Eagles reportedly face the Seattle Seahawks, which is going to be a tough one. They're coming off winning the Super Bowl. The Houston Texans on Thursday Night Football, led by DeMeco Ryans, one of our own. You know they're going to come out and ball for real. You got them 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Let's get them up out of there. And then division battles against the New York Giants. Now, the Texas game especially could carry massive playoff implications. And if the Eagles are truly contenders, that stress is going to test everything. This is going to be a tough stretch right here. Especially with it being later in the year. You got to manage your body, right? Manage everything that's going on just within the building and just making sure that you're prepared, So Sirianni, the coaching staff, the trainers, just like the players through this stretch, they're going to be on their game. You got to be on your P's and Q's. We might be able to give one of these games, but you can't come out of this stretch 2-3 or something like that. No, sir. Take the fight to them.
But yeah, it's like we have been playing great ball for these past few years towards the end of the season, but hopefully we're able to get a lead out in the standings early in the season, take care of our business against the teams we're supposed to beat, so we won't have to. Because I can't stand towards the end of the season having to watch other teams. Like, we love football, but I don't want to have to watch football in that light where we need this team to lose. We need this team to lose so we can do seedings. I'm tired of that. Yeah, let's just take care of our business and be the number 1 seed. So everything has to run through Philadelphia when it comes playoff time, because we're not like other teams. They're just happy to get to the playoffs. We know we're going to the playoffs. our goal is Super Bowl. So let's just make sure we hit the ground running from week 1 and continue that trend upward throughout the whole rest of the season. But now, family, look, we also got one of the more emotional and unexpected stories involving this organization recently, the Jair Alexander situation. And honestly, this became much bigger than football. Alexander opened up publicly about why things ended before they ever really began in the city of Philadelphia. And according to Jair, the knee swelling returned. The anxiety built up. The pressure became overwhelming. And that happens sometimes when you put that midnight green jersey on. The stakes are higher. The standard is raised. And mentally, things spiraled before the Packers game. We all know that was his former team. He was drafted by the Green Bay Packers. And then obviously he went to the Ravens for that short amount of time. But all he really truly knows is the Green Bay Packers. So eventually he reportedly texted the Eagles organization during the early morning hours and told them he couldn't continue. Now, from a football perspective, yes, the situation was quite disappointing. I was a little disappointed. Big Huss was a little disappointed. But now that more of the facts are coming out, it's kind of understandable at this point now. The Eagles gave up assets for a player who never contributed on the football field. But at the same time, it takes real vulnerability to publicly admit mental struggles in a sport where players are always taught to hide pain constantly. And honestly, family, that perspective matters a lot too, because sometimes football conversations need humanity inside them as well. We forget, we look at football players as superheroes. We look at them as they're so strong, nothing can affect them. But we do have to realize that they're, in fact, people just like us. They have emotions. They have feelings. So we have to take that into consideration. I respect Jair Alexander being able to come out and tell his truth. And look, we're going to support him no matter what, whether he was in Philadelphia for for 3 days, or whether he was in Philadelphia for 10 years. The Eagles community always embraces people, and we're going to let him know that we give him our full support.
Be on a Thursday or a Sunday or a Monday, and we watch these games, but we forget, as you said, these are human beings. These are folks with lives outside of the gridiron, right? And it's day and age where mental awareness and mental health is so big, man. Stepping out and being courageous and admitting that to the public, that takes a lot, man. It's like you said, much respect to Jair Alexander for coming out saying that and realizing where he is in his life and realizing, hey, y'all, as much as I would love to be in Philly, I'm not 100% all in. So let me step back, let somebody who's better suited for the opportunity, the role type deal. So just want to send much love to Jair Alexander, to him, his family. Hey, brother, get healthy, man, for real. So now let's talk about former Eagles offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. Because look, this situation deserves a bit of a deeper conversation. Now, Patullo's officially getting a fresh start with the Miami Dolphins after the Eagles moved on following a frustrating 2025 season offensively. This is one of those situations where outside perception and the inside reality may not fully align. While fans saw the offense struggle and wanted changes immediately, Patullo recently opened up about just how involved he actually was during his entire run in Philadelphia. Speaking to Dolphins reporters, Patullo said, all 5 years in Philadelphia, I had such a handle on a lot of different things. I was an assistant head coach. I was part OC throughout my entire time there. Even last year, I was so heavily involved in a lot of things. And we saw that. Now, that quote tells you a lot. Patullo just wasn't some background assistant standing quietly on the sideline. He was deeply involved in the building, the structure of this football team during one of the most successful stretches over the organization's tenure in recent years. Remember, family, during Sirianni's first 5 seasons, the Eagles made 2 Super Bowl appearances. That's big, right? That doesn't happen by accident. Patullo played his role in helping establish offensive systems, game planning structures, organizational communication, and weekly preparation habits throughout that run. Now, obviously, the 2025 season did not go how anybody wanted offensively. The offense became inconsistent. Rhythm, there was none. There were long stretches where the passing game looked stagnant, very much predictable, and ultimately the organization decided a reset was necessary. I think we all believed a reset was necessary. Hearing Patullo speak, you could tell he views Philadelphia as a major developmental chapter in his coaching career rather than simply a failed season. He was able to find some silver lining. Good for you. He specifically talked about how much he learned from helping build the program from 2021 to 2025. Patullo said, I just think the experience of going through that, from building a program up from 2021 to 2025, just seeing what goes into it when you have a new roster, when you're trying to set new culture in place, you're trying to set a new offense in place, that's important perspective. Because coaching in the NFL, it's not just about drawing plays on the whiteboard. It's culture building, leadership management, roster transition, adapting schemes, handling pressures, handling expectations. And Patullo experienced all of that in Philadelphia from year 1 through 5. And we saw all of that just last year, right? Now he heads to Miami, where he joins a completely new situation under head coach Jeff Hafley and offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, who we just spoke on earlier. And honestly, fam, this could end up being a very good situation for everybody involved down there. Sometimes coaches need a fresh environment. Sometimes organizations need new voices. Sometimes both sides simply need to reach the natural end of a chapter. The Eagles are now moving forward with Sean Mannion, our OC, right? And Patullo, though, meanwhile, he gets an opportunity to rebuild momentum, some credibility with the Dolphins team trying to reset its own offensive identity. Well, this next chapter in Miami will be fascinating if Patullo succeeds there. People may look back differently on this 2025 season, how much responsibility he truly carried during his Eagles tenure. We'll see, but that's NFL. Sometimes you don't fully appreciate what someone contributed until they're gone. And look, yes, KP had an impact during his 5 years here with Philadelphia. But his first true season of control, he failed. He failed the offense. He failed his players. He failed the Eagles. Right? And that's something that we're going to have to live with. That's something that Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, Jeff Lurie, they're going to have to live with and learn from. Right? So I'll put it like this. At the end of the day, best of luck to KP. We appreciate what he did here. But that 2025 season, I don't care how you shake and bake it and write it, it was bad. It was bad. Very simple. Very simple. Right? And I just leave that at that. I ain't going to drag the man today.
Yeah, because you better than me, fam. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. That boy Patullo had to go. He had to get out the door, La Porta. Get out the door, dog. Because my man's, look, we had on a silver platter, all we had to do was have the offense be competent, and we would have went and won back-to-back bowls.
Middle of the road.
Come on.
Middle of the road.
That's it. That's all we're asking. For the most expensive offense in the league, that's all we were asking. It ain't that hard.
Nah.
Kevin Patullo, you messed up, bro. Like you said, he helped build a little bit, but when the time was called upon for you to show up and rise to the occasion, you folded like a lawn chair, famo. I don't know what this was, but it just seems to me, I feel Big Hus like this is attention seeking, bro. It's like, dude, you're in a new situation, bro. What happened to the days where you'll go to a new situation and you say, yeah, whatever happened back at my old stop, I appreciate what went on there. I appreciate the growth that I had there, the information that I learned, but I'm now here in Miami and I'm focused on the Dolphins. It seems like he's been talking more now that when he's left Philadelphia than when he was here in Philadelphia, bro.
Facts.
How come we didn't get all these interviews and press conferences about the offensive struggles? And why didn't you have any answers or adjustments with the offensive struggles? I'm getting out my frustration and venting because, bro, I'm still not over last season because that was a easy back-to-back bowl for us here in Philadelphia, bro. Like I said, you're attention seeking. You have removed yourself. Well, the Eagles removed you from the situation. You see what I'm saying? And it's just weird that you're still constantly having the Eagles name in your mouth. Just like a lot of analysts, national analysts, local analysts, everybody just always wants to have the Eagles names in their mouths. And I wouldn't be surprised because we talked about this a few days ago. I wouldn't be surprised if Bull was the one who was the anonymous source and try to put the slander on QB1 because he's still feeling some type of way. He's in his feels. You see what I'm saying about the situation and how it transpired here in Philadelphia? Yeah, Nick Sirianni's your bud. Yeah, you had the responsibility of handling the offense and you failed. We're all not perfect, but you have a lot of growing to do. And we just know that some people aren't built for the city of Philadelphia, and Patullo was one of them. I wouldn't be surprised if Patullo was helping with that situation going on in New England with Mr. Vrabel and Miss Rossini. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be too angry. Patullo, best of luck to you and your family. But I'm going to stand, and I know Big Huss is going to stand. That's my bro. We didn't like Kevin Patullo, and I'm glad that he is no longer heading our offense here in 2026 because we definitely needed a change and he needed to get out of the city, man. But now we're going to transition over to the offensive position breakdown. Let's talk about the roster construction and the fabulous job that Howard Roseman has done because this Eagles offense is quite fascinating. So now let's talk about the quarterback room. QB1 is obviously the franchise quarterback, the Super Bowl winning MVP. We know that. That's no debate. That's no conversation need to be had. We know who's number one. But Tanner McKee becomes very interesting moving forward because we know that we just traded for Andy Dalton, who can be a very, very great backup here in Philadelphia. And then also, he's another quarterback that has been in the league for, I want to say 15 years or so, something like that.
A minute, yeah.
So he has seen a lot of defenses, a lot of coverages, and can give some of the wisdom that he has to QB1. Even though QB1 is going into his sixth season, he's still a young quarterback and still maturing and developing. But we got to ask ourselves, is Tanner McKee going to be here long term? We don't know because he can be a future trade asset. That is something worth monitoring and watching here in Philadelphia. But like I said, adding the red rifle Andy Dalton, that gives the room stability during an offensive transition year here in Philadelphia. So now going to the running back room, Saquon Barkley remains the featured back, and he is still elite. Do not let last season fool y'all, all right? But last season did prove something important. Even elite running backs need consistency in the blocking game. The offensive line's regression from last season impacted everything, and I mean everything offensively. Meanwhile, Tank Bigsby showed serious explosiveness and deserves a much larger role going forward here in Philadelphia. What the Eagles need on offense is balance throughout a very long, rigorous, and physical NFL season. Now on to the wide receiver room. This room is loaded with intrigue. Devontae Slim Reaper Smith, he could be headed toward a monster season. Every time Devontae Smith has been asked to carry wide receiver one responsibilities, he's delivered, especially with the Arthur Juan situation being a limbo. Devontae Smith is going to be asked to step up, and I wholeheartedly know that Devontae Smith can step into that wide receiver role and wide receiver one role and dominate. He can be that go-to receiver, kind of what Seattle did when they had DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba. DK Metcalf was the number wide receiver one. Jackson Smith and Jigba was wide receiver two. Once they got rid of DK Metcalf and they traded him to the Steelers, what did Jackson Smith and Jigba do? He became one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the league last season. And that's something that I feel Devontae Smith could do here in Philadelphia, being out of Arthur Juan K's shadow. But then you add names like Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, Dontavian Wicks, and yeah, our first round draft pick, Mekhi Lemon. Right there with a dog. Got that dog. I knew he was from Philadelphia. Once he ain't there, you feel me? But that is speed every single place on offense. But there's also uncertainty, again, like we said, surrounding our Arthur Juan K as the trade speculation continues floating around NFL circles. But if Arthur Juan, it's a slight but, all right, stays and he's healthy and locked in, this offense becomes even more dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. It definitely does. But if not, if he is traded June 1st or after that, a lot is going to fall on the Slim Reaper and the younger receivers that we have acquired in the offseason. Now, to circle back to the offensive line, those concerns are very real here in Philadelphia because this may quietly be the biggest concern on this roster. We all know Pave the Lane is still elite, but he is 36 years old. He's getting a little long in the tooth. Landon Dickerson has battled through injuries ever since college. Me and Big Huss have talked about that at length on multiple videos that we have done here on the Main Thing Podcast Presents. But maybe most importantly, the Eagles no longer have legendary offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland leading that room and to be able to fall back on for his development. And that matters more than people do realize, because for years, the Eagles' offensive line covered up weaknesses everywhere else. If the offensive line slips and doesn't get back to form, everything changes. So we got to hope that Chris Cooper could come in. We are not asking him to be Jeff Stoutland, even though we're hoping that he is close to Jeff Stoutland. We're not asking him to be Jeff Stoutland. We're asking him to be Chris Cooper, to develop these young offensive linemen and also get the most out of our offensive line so we can get back to running this football and being physical and playing bully ball against these defenses. And then once we run that football and that's successful, what does that do? Because that just opens up play action. So now we're doing play action, sucking down the linebackers, sucking down the safeties, and be able to get those big plays that we love here in Philadelphia.
No, for sure. You're spot on. Now, about Jalen Hurts and the A.J. Brown thing all offseason, right? Big year for Jalen Hurts. I think it's a big year for Chris Cooper. You know what I mean? Taking over the helm, taking over the reins after Jeff Stoutland, that's huge. The offensive line, or on the offensive side, the offensive line to me is the biggest question mark. And not because it's lack of talent. Talent is there. Some older talent, some younger talent, but still a talented group. You have to see how this group performs under Chris Cooper. Will we still get that same edge? There's still that nasty group, that elite group? Or is it going to take a while before it kind of all meshes and gels together? I think that's the real question of this offseason, honestly. And as you said, if A.J. Brown, like I said, it's a slim chance, but if A.J. Brown is somehow a Philadelphia Eagle come the start of the 2026 season, you could arguably say that the Eagles have the best receiving room in the NFL.
Yes.
Like, you have depth, you have talent galore.
Experience.
You have it all, right? And it's coming in all different shapes and sizes in that receiving room. So Very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out, the whole AJ Brown saga and stuff. We'll see. June 1st is vastly approaching, so
2 weeks.
Only a couple more weeks and we'll know. Now, defensively, this roster still looks scary. Pass rush, we got the addition of Jonathan Grenard. That was huge.
Yes.
People's focus on too much on sacks sometimes. No, let's not get it twisted. Sacks matter, but hell, pressures matter, disruptions matter. And Grenard remains one of the NFL's most disruptive edge players, right? Underappreciated, undervalued, kind of goes unnoticed. But he's one of those. He's one of them, right? With a Nolan Smith, a Jalen Hunt, an Arnold Ebiketie, right? That speed and athleticism everywhere. But this is a massive year for Nolan Smith, specifically. This feels like a true breakout or plateau season for him. He has to take that next step as an edge rusher, and he can do it. You know, he's working hard. We just got to see all that hard work now transition to the field. Then you have your interior defensive lineman. You already know everything starts with Brad Carter. That man, Jalen Carter, JC. When he dominates, the entire defense changes, plain and simple, right? Mm-hmm. Then meanwhile, you got Jordan Davis, who finally showed major growth last season. He had a phenomenal season, all season long. Reason why the Eagles paid him this offseason, right? But now that he's proven consistency, and now you have Moro Jomo quietly continuing to trend upward. Look, that interior D line, that is one of the better groups in the NFL. Top 5, bar none, right? Then you have our secondary. Now, the secondary legitimately became one of the best in football. We already knew what All-Pro Q was about. Then you got All-Pro Q, right? They're already stars, young stars. Then you add a Reek Woolen who gives his defense ridiculous upside. This is a long corner with speed and ball skills. A body type we haven't really yet seen in Philadelphia, especially talking about at that corner position. This kid is 6'3", 6'4", 205, 210 pounds, and runs a 4.3. We haven't seen that in Philly. He's different.
The only person who I can say similar, but not as fast, but body type is Nnamdi Asomugha. Yeah, but hopefully, that's why I didn't want to bring that up. Reek, don't think it.
Knock on wood, you better not be that, okay? Right? But if Woolen fully locks in low, good luck throwing against the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
No fly zone in Philadelphia. We easily have one of the better 1-2-3 punches as far as outside corner slot in the league.
Easily. Bro. Easily. You got defenses around the league that struggle to even just get one corner, let alone 2. We got three legit corners who can line up against multiple receivers, whether outside or inside.
Facts.
We got somebody who can handle your top dog.
Facts.
Any Sunday, Thursday, Monday, international. I don't care when it is.
It don't matter.
Whenever we got to line up, we line it up.
Facts.
All right. But now, look, let's go to a very, very feel-good story because this all happened back in 2018. The Eagles Autism Challenge deserves major love and kudos. Shout out to the greatest owner in all of sports, Jeffrey Lurie, because he's always ahead of the curve. He's always setting a standard. And that is why people look at Philadelphia as not only a premier destination for free agents, just a premier organization in general. We are the gold standard here in the NFL. But now, before we close out this video, family, we have to salute the Eagles Autism Foundation because this organization continues changing lives. The 9th annual Eagles Autism Challenge raised more than 16 M's this year. Dang, that 16 look good. Now, that is a record for Eagles Autism Challenge, so we got to give them some kudos and appreciation because that is fabulous right there. Now, the Eagles Autism Challenge this year has 6,832 participants. Nearly 40 100,000 donations worldwide. We ain't only in Philly. We everywhere with it. We everywhere. You ain't never there. Come on now. We here with it. Since 2018, the Eagles Autism Foundation has now raised over $56 million for autism research and community programs. That is a credible family. This is why the Philadelphia Eagles organization remains respected beyond football, because this is impact. This is purpose. This is community. Again, huge respect to our great owner, Jeffrey Lurie, and everybody involved making that event as successful as it was.
It means a lot to the Philadelphia Eagles, for real. And they do this every year, it seems like. They put up big numbers as far as bringing in the funding and things like that to put towards research and help some of these families out. Man, like Mr. Owens said, man, big ups to y'all. Major love to y'all. Jeff Lurie, Philadelphia Eagles, man, y'all keep doing y'all thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
The community really respects it. And it means a lot to them.
Yes.
So overall, fam, look, this Eagles team still looks like one of the most complete rosters in football. Kudos, Howie Roseman. You know how he does, right? But there are real questions still entering 2026. Can the offensive line stay healthy? And that's a big question. Will Sean Mannion unlock another level of Jalen Hurts? Can his new offensive system maximize efficiency? Will some of these young pass rushers fully arrive? Nolan Smith, I'm looking at you, big dog, right? Can the secondary become elite? Which I believe it is. I believe it's already elite, right? And how does this team survive another brutal schedule? Now, one thing is certain. The road back to the Super Bowl officially starts now. And the schedule release tonight always makes the season feel real again, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now I want to hear from y'all in the comments. Which Eagles matchups are you most excited for this season? And what's your biggest concern heading into the 2026 season? Because there are a couple concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And drop it all in the comment. Let me and Mr. Owens know what you're thinking. We always love to hear from y'all, you know?
But you already know, our ears are always perked up to hear from our supporters and our family. And this is where we got to transition. You already know, to our loyal supporters. Thank you. Y'all know it's all love. The Main Thing Podcast Presents can't happen without the support from y'all. And to our new supporters, welcome to the community and our family. Let's continue to do our part for the community and our family. Please continue to like the videos. It does help with the visibility of our channel in the algorithm. Disrespect that comment section. Share and subscribe to the community and our content. And y'all know already, me and Big Huss are going to constantly remind y'all, make sure to turn on them noties. Make sure that you keep your ears and eyes peeled to the streets like your local neighborhood watch. Wow. So you don't miss when Swoop comes out with the Eagles news and updates.
For sure. And as always, family, look, keep stacking wins, keep chasing purpose. And as always, keep the main thing the main thing. But if you don't know, hey, I go by Big Husk.
And I go by Mr. Owens.
And this is the Main Thing Podcast, where we keep the main thing the main thing. Stay blessed, stay safe. Continue to support your birds, continue to support the channel. Let's fly Eagles fly till we die, man. Y'all know the vibes. Until next time, we out.
I was gonna make a lot of money doing what I wanted to do. I went after it, and it was a struggle to achieve it. But you know what? I caught that bitch. Dream chasing.